Hey, what is up, guys? It is Harrison Barron, the Millennial Entrepreneur. Now, in this video, I want to talk to you guys about LLCs, why you might want one, and ultimately why you probably should have one. So, right off the bat, let's cover what is an LLC. An LLC is a limited liability company or corporation, depending on where you read it online. There are several different corporations that you can form. You can form a sole proprietorship, you can form an S Corp, a C Corp, a LLC, and then that's pretty much it. Otherwise, you're probably running your business without a corporation title. The reason why you want a corporation title is essentially to separate yourself from legal responsibility. Now, doesn't mean you could just go out and run wild out there and cause trouble, but essentially, God forbid something does happen in your business, you want to make sure that there's legal protection put in place. So every state has its own set of laws where essentially you need to, or you should have some kind of protection there. That way you separate yourself as a person from the business, which is a business. This is to make sure that ultimately nobody can come in and sue you as the person and they are suing the corporation. Now, pro tip, if you're going to do this, you probably should have insurance as well. But you need to contact two people. Those two people are going to help you make a lot of decisions in your business. You need to contact a lawyer, and you probably need to contact an accountant. Those people should have a conversation, and when they do, they're going to tell you exactly what you need. So if it's an LLC, C Corp, sole proprietorship, whatever it may be, and whatever's the best fit for you and what you're doing. The reason why this is important is, one, you want to know how your taxes are going to get paid and what you're going to be responsible for at the end of the year or throughout the year. And ultimately, you want to make sure that you have legal protection, so that way, God forbid something does happen, and I'm also realizing I'm going to say ultimately a lot, but God forbid something does happen, you want to make sure that you're covered, because they're going to come after you, and if you don't have those corporations in place, you're going to be responsible for paying legal fees, basically anything. The states can garnish your wages. There's a whole bunch of legal ways that people can take money from you for years to come if you don't have a corporation. If you have a corporation, that basically blocks you. You obviously cannot do anything outlandish and reckless, but it basically blocks you from being personally responsible instead of your company being responsible. Now, you want to have insurance just as a safety net. Trust me, insurance is well worth it. When you go to bed at night, God forbid something does happen, you know that you're not going to be in a heap of trouble, essentially, is really what it comes down to, is that's what it is. Now, if you don't have an LLC or you don't have one of these corporations, there's a couple things you need to keep in mind. One, you could be sued for whatever it is, and you are responsible for it because you are the one rendering goods or services. So you want to separate yourself from that person or thing with a corporation title. Two is there's no structure. So ultimately, when you have a LLC, S Corp, whatever it is, that structure is either then provided, or at least you have something where you could go off of to say, hey, we have an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, and this is the protocols that we have to follow year after year to make sure that not only we maintain a good business status, but things are flowing correctly. And then three, the other reason why you want to make sure that you have one of these in place is nobody's ever going to give you financing. It's just the matter of the fact. Nobody's going to give you any money because they're giving you the money. They're not giving a business the money. So if you're ever going out trying to get that money, nobody's going to give it to you because it's just like giving your friend a couple $1,000. There's no literature on, what's going on, where that money's going. So this is why it's important to have your lawyer and your accountant have a conversation and ultimately talk about, hey, what is the best thing for you? Now, if you form an LLC, chances are pretty good you're forming an LLC because you're going to have a partner. The reason why you're going to have a partner is because, if you weren't going to have that, you'd have a sole proprietorship or an S Corp or C Corp, depending on how you want taxes to get paid. But if you're going to form an LLC, you're probably going to have partners. So you probably need a partnership agreement. That is an agreement on paper that basically says from a lawyer, hey, this is what they're responsible for, this person, this person, this person. These are things that are going to go on. This is how many shares they own. What happens to the shares if they pass away? Anything like that, all the legal stuff is going to be covered in that corporation, that LLC, and that partnership agreement. This is also really good because, one, you know what you're responsible for, and the other person knows what they're responsible for, and you can have this for as many partners as you'd like. But I do recommend it because if you do have a partner, knowing who's responsible for what, you can't get angry at somebody if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Now, if you just say, hey, 50-50 split, and we're just going to go, all at it, God forbid your business does grow and that person steps away and decides to do nothing. Is that written into the agreements? Can you buy them out? Can they not buy them out? Who gets those shares after they pass? Can they give away those shares? Can they sell those shares? These are all things you want to keep in mind and make sure that in your partner agreement, these are all written down. Next, after you have your partnership, This is why you would want one. You don't want to get sued. You don't want anything bad to happen to you. Form that LLC, form that partnership, and then from there, talk to your accountant, talk to your lawyer, so that way you know the way taxes are going to flow through. This is going to save you a tremendous amount of headaches. Because knowing how you're going to pay taxes every year, whether it's quarterly or at the end of the year, or you have to save up some money for it, however you choose to pay taxes and however you choose to get paid is incredibly important. When I say get paid, that is you as the business owner, which I actually just made a video on of when you should get paid. You as the business owner is taking money from the business. So every time you take money from the business, that is income. And that income needs to get paid taxes on. Depending on where you live, I'm from New York, so there's a lot of money to be paid. But if you live in Florida, there's no income tax over there. So you have to keep in mind, and this is why you want to talk to your lawyer and your accountant, how are you going to get paid? What's writable? When I say writable, what can you write off? What can't you write off? How much of it can you write off? And ultimately, your taxable income can either go up or down depending on things like that you can write off versus what you can't write off. At the end of the day, though, an LLC or a corporation isn't necessary, but it is recommended. And I say it is recommended is because, God forbid something does happen, why do you want to be responsible? Why do you want to be financially responsible for doing it? Having an LLC made, when I made mine up in New York, it was like about $1,000. It's great. I still don't understand why it's so expensive, because once you pay your accountant and things like that, but you have to take an ad out in a local paper or something, from what I understand. Nobody has yet to explain to me why you need to do it, other than the fact that that's what you have to do. But some states require you to take an ad out that basically says you are a new company and this is what you do, right? Depending on where you set that up, it could be more expensive, it could be less expensive. I'm from New York, that's where it's probably more expensive. I was originally going to do it in Delaware, it'd be cheaper. But you also want to talk to your accountant and lawyer on where you're going to form your corporation, because depending on where you form it is going to play a huge role in taxes, income, liability, legal, anything like that. That's all going to play a major role and responsibility. For example, my accountant and lawyer is over on Long Island, and because of this, I want to make sure that I use him instead of hiring another lawyer in another state. For example, I was thinking about starting a new LLC in Delaware. Probably not the best idea after I really thought long and hard about it, just to save a couple $1,000, because now I have to go get a new set of lawyers. God forbid something happens, I have to fight laws and go to legal court in that state and a whole bunch of other things like that, which is a pain in the butt. I'd rather just go with the people I know, the people that I already pay, and ultimately this is going to make my life a million times easier. So you can start an LLC and a corporation in another state. Typically most people do like Delaware on the East Coast, but whatever it is, talk to your people, talk to your advisors, your trusted advisors, who are going to give you the best advice possible for you and your business. Now, if you're selling a consumable product or anything like that, I highly recommend having an LLC and insurance, because God forbid something happens. You know, if you're selling coffee and somebody drinks that coffee and something bad happens to them, you don't want to be responsible. Let's be realistic here. Nobody wants to deal with the headache that's about to ensue. And if you don't have an LLC or anything like that, you're going to be responsible for paying out a lot of money over time. So think about it. Whatever you're doing, now if you're selling Starbucks cups or whatever it is, right, you're probably fine without an LLC. But if you're making decent financial transactions, I mean, you're doing, a couple $1,000s a year, spend the money and just go out and get an LLC and form it correctly. The other thing to keep in mind too is, depending on where you live, there are also additional fees that come year after year. Maintenance fees, which I still don't quite understand, because the state basically just says, hey, we want more money for not deleting your records in the system. Blows my mind, but essentially that's what you're going to be doing. So every year you're going to be responsible for a certain amount of money, depending on where you live, that you will have to pay the state basically to continue owning your business. Literally makes no sense. I really don't get it, but these laws were written into place long before I was alive. But these are things that you need to know. If you're going to go start an LLC, be prepared to lay out, a couple hundred, potentially a couple $1,000, depending on where it is and what you need to do. There are a ton of resources out on the internet. You can go check out LegalZoom or anything like that. And I just say LegalZoom. They're not a sponsor of this, because they're just an easy resource. But keep in mind, you want somebody that is a local trusted advisor, because they're going to know so much more about it. Granted, yes, it's super easy to do it online, but you want to have a relationship with these people. You want to make sure that, God forbid something does happen, you can call them up instead of trying to find somebody at the last minute, on the last hour of the day, because something bad happened in your business. This is just purely advice. obviously go consult your professionals. When I say professionals, I mean your legal professionals, your finance professionals, your accountant, and then your insurance professionals to make sure that you are protected correctly. It is so relieving knowing that I can go to bed any day of the week and nothing bad is going to happen. And if something bad does happen, I have the team in place to make sure that I am going to be okay and we will get through this. Other than that, my name is Harrison Barron, the Millennial Entrepreneur. I hope this video helps. It's a bit long-winded. I'm going to be doing a bunch more content like this. I'm doing 120 and 120, so it is 120 videos in 120 days. Now, knowing myself, I'm probably going to skip a couple, but I shouldn't be negative. I'm going to be positive. That's my goal. I'm going to keep putting out content like this. I have a ton of content ideas. I have a friend starting a business right now, so he's feeding me ideas that are phenomenal for me to make content on. And ultimately, my job is to help you grow and start a business and really thrive, because I wish that I had videos like this and a trusted advisor online to go to. Now, I run a digital marketing agency, but this is everything that I've learned that has had a massive impact on me. Hope you guys found value in this video. If you guys did, leave a comment down below. If you guys need to contact any of these professionals, please leave a comment down below. I'm happy to help. Other than that, please hit the likes button because it's literally free and you don't have to pay taxes on that. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss another video and that little notification bell. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, bye.